friends, happy Friday. Great to see everyone here. I hope your weekend is off to a fantastic start. I am enjoying the Matches Memorial Friday Savinelli, as is tradition, with some Haunted Bookshop. This Haunted Bookshop's been a long time coming today. More on that later. But yeah, great to see so many folks here on this first live stream of 2023. Happy New Year to you all. That's happened since last I saw you. And let's see who we have here assembled so far. We've got Little Piper Todd. Good to see you, Todd. Gary Edminster. Burley Nut Bob. George Campbell. Hello there, George. George has got a Peterson Donegal Bent Bulldog rusticated. Oh, he managed to get, so he's got a new pipe coming in. How's the best way to clean it? Let's discuss that in a little bit, George. Steve Russell. Hello there, Steve. Taciturn Richard. George turned 59 today. Definitely a good day. Happy birthday, George Campbell. And I saw earlier you are also a fellow ham, so great to see you out there, George. Pondering with Pepe's Pipes. Mountain Coffee Outdoors. Great to see so many folks. And earlier I saw my buddy Ford and Tim Fournier is out there, so good to see you guys. There's Big Dave. How's it going, Dave? Happy New Year to you, sir. MTMTB. Ron Hardcrackers. Happy New Year, Ron. Hope the Christmas decorations came down without incident, Ron. So best way to clean up pipe. I see Pepe has already suggested salt and whiskey, salt and alcohol, salt and Everclear. Those things all work. I mean, I prefer a retort, but it just depends on how dirty it is. You know, at a minimum, you want to ream it out and run some pipe cleaners with some alcohol through it multiple times until they come out clean. And, you know, that could be enough. So it just kind of depends on the pipe. Tim is asking, is Aaron in class today? Wouldn't that be an Aaron? That's one of them jokes that go over my head, Tim. Lord Hogarth, how you doing, buddy? There's Signalman Tony from Rhode Island. Hello there, sir. Good to see you tonight. And Merry 12th Day of Christmas indeed, Mountain Coffee Outdoors, yes. Oh, you want to clean the outside, George? Murphy's Oil Soap is great for that. And if you can find the Murphy's Oil Soap spray, it works really well. It's not as aggressive. You just spray it on, wipe it off. Works great. The Urban Hermit, how you doing, Everett? And Bona Piper, good evening and Happy New Year to you, sir. Great to see you tonight, Christian. So yes, my Haunted Bookshop was a long way coming today. I got up this morning and had to worked from home today. Went to work Tuesday through Thursday and decided to work from home today. And I thought, oh boy, I can smoke my pipe while I work. So that was nice. But I you know, came down here to get the Haunted Bookshop in my pipe, and the cupboard was bare. So that was disappointing. And I said to myself, well, I could open up another luxury pouch, which I've done now. But let me smoke up some odds and ends first. So I was smoking odds and ends all day. I got various bags and stuff. I'll have some of that later. But it just wasn't working. And I found myself really craving the Haunted Bookshop. And yeah, so I was very happy to fill this pipe up. Let's see. Glad you're doing well there, Everett. No worries, George. Anytime, happy to help. Happy Epiphany, Michael Case. Indeed. Tim wants to know if D niece is in the house. A Aaron and D niece. How about D nephew? Sorry, that was a really bad one. Today is the 12th day of Christmas, indeed, Big Dave, which makes it the Epiphany. Oh, Ron, you know it's gone too long when you're ready to take them down. I know the feeling, buddy. Everett's got some Haunted Bookshop in his Savinelli Series 3 Unfinished 673. Very nice. George Campbell, KCN PIV. But I've been very inactive lately, George. Big Dave, you getting winter weather there in southern Arizona? We've been warm here. I mean, we've been high 50s, low 60s the past couple of days. Armchair Piper, how you doing, Ed? And there's Phil Rivera. Good to see you, Phil. Timber Drifter, hello there. Yeah, so I'm doing this really just to annoy Everett. So I had to open up another luxury pouch of Haunted Bookshop just before I started the live stream here. And to do that, I had to actually crack open one of the deluxe luxury pouches here. This is embarrassing. When Smoking Pipes has to send you extra large bags to fit the large bags of Haunted Bookshop, you might have a problem. Oh, George, it's KC3 PIB. At least I think that's what it is. It's been so long I might have that wrong. Hillbilly Piper, how you doing, Donnie? Good to see you tonight. Oh, Mountain Coffee Outdoors had one of those reef birds fly in. I've heard people, my sister-in-law had that happen one year. Artie, how you doing there, Artie? Good to see you tonight. Michael Case is having an epiphany concoction. Custom built with a mild aromatic and a few crystals of frankincense. Exotic, not bad. That would be interesting, Michael. Good thing you stocked up, Everett. Good thing. And indeed, Ford, you can never have enough, indeed. It should tell the tale, George, if I got it right. Yes. And if you can't find it, drop me an email, CaneRodPiper@gmail. I'd be happy to chat with you offline. Always good to talk to another ham. It used to be Casey and the Sunshine Band, Tim, but I changed it. There's Tramper Scott. Good to see you, Scott. Mushroom Leg. First time caller, long time listener. Hello, good to see you, buddy. Thanks for jumping into the conversation. God knows if you people don't, this is going to be a very boring show. 3 pounds of big and burly. Wow, Everett, that's enough to keep me away. You just have to point that in my direction and I'll turn and go the other way. Mountain Coffee Outdoors loaded up the St. Nick Savinelli with some jolly old St. Nick. That's a good choice. Oh, Big Dave, that's one of the things frankincense gets used at, so that's a reasonable memory. Phil used to be KY in the sunshine. Downhill to spring training indeed, Michael. Yeah. Yeah. You know, I was thinking yesterday about how You know, it's January and it's warm, and boy, there's just really just a few weeks of winter between us and spring. I mean, it's a month and whatnot, but you know, but boy, those are tough weeks when when you got snow and ice. Those are tough weeks. Patrick Grant, how you doing, Patrick? Happy New Year to you, sir. Good to see you. So I'm trying to think what has transpired since last we met, other than the New Year beginning. Went back to work. That was relatively uneventful, quite busy. Beginning of the year is always a exciting time, you know, laying new plans and trying to figure out what we're going to do for the next 12 months. That's me, George. Yep, I'm in Souderton, Pennsylvania. Mountain Coffee says that Capstan Blue left a frankincense scent on his goatee. That's interesting. Tim, who writes checks anymore? You know, as I was sitting here waiting for the show to get started, I saw that I had written that, and I realized that probably most people don't write checks anymore. So the joke doesn't make sense, but when I wrote it last week, it was funny to me. So I'm just glad to see somebody reads those things. Because sometimes I write them and I just think they're hilarious, and you know, I never know if anybody sees them. Oh, days like that are rough, Everett. It's been damp here too, but fortunately it's been warm. But yeah, I know what you mean about the joints. I actually really flared up the arthritis in my hand today. I've been between meetings. I was working on the never-ending saga of the kraut cutter. I'm sharpening the blades, and boy, these blades have never been sharpened properly. So I decided I don't know why I think it needs to be razor sharp to cut cabbage, but so I'm flattening the back of the blades, and the blades are like this long, so holding them down on a stone is not easy, and my hands cramped up from it, and yeah. Anyway, that's life when you get old. '42 in Patrick's neck of the woods, huh? Warm for January, Patrick. Oh, Ron, I warned you not to watch The Mummer's Brain. I'll tell you, I turned it on. It started at 9 o'clock, and I thought, oh, what the heck? Let me see what's going on. So I put on MeTV at 9 o'clock, and it was the local news people like doing the lead up to it, and I just couldn't stand it. It was just so insipid. I watched about 3 minutes of it and turned it off. So I never actually saw any of the parade. Ford Smoking Pipes got it 1 ounce of Caesars. I'm not familiar with that, Ford. Smelled like cherry scented fuzzy dice for a week. Not good. Doug Owen, how you doing, Doug? Good to see you tonight. Tim, I don't think he meant those kinds of joints. Maybe he did. You know, Everett's a hippie, but I don't think that's what he meant. Jim PM, how you doing, Jim? I'm ready to load up a Savinelli Rustica 1015 with a bowl of Wilkie Churchill. Nice. Oh, Phil, you actually did fall from that. Oh, my goodness. You got to be careful there, buddy. You and Bear Wolf Steve have to learn that we don't bounce. Shouldn't be climbing trees. George Campbell says he's breaking in a Peterson Arklow bent bulldog. Sounds nice. Yeah, Michael, hard to believe, isn't it? Yeah, Mountain Coffee Outdoors, that's the challenge is that consistent bevel angle. It doesn't have to be the right bevel angle. It just has to be the same bevel angle. But it doesn't take that long to master it. I mean, I always people get into arguments about sharpening all the time, but I think the folks that use the guides are making a mistake because yes, you'll sharpen poorly for a couple of hours, but then you'll have it for life and you'll never need the guide. George cracked a jar of Father Dempsey blend. That's some nice stuff. Tim, that's not true. Hippies also make that patchouli stuff. I think they make it. And tie-dye. They do the tie-dye. Yeah, Doug, cherry-flavored fuzzy dice doesn't sound pleasant at all, does it? What are you doing to us, Ford? Jeffrey Feinberg. Hello, Jeffrey. Good to see you tonight. Well, Arizona doesn't sound much better right now, Everett. Oh, Phil, they don't make men like that anymore, do they? Climbed 80 feet in a redwood in his 80s and then fell and broke his back, and next year he climbed up and finished the job. Man. Okay, it's a house blend, Ford. Gotcha. But I'm not going to buy it if it smells like fuzzy dice. You're right, Mountain Coffee Outdoors. I should have ended my patchouli and tie-dye comment with not that there's anything wrong with it. Gary's been sharpening for years. Yeah, it's one of those skills that I think everybody should learn. Freehand sharpening. It takes time, it's not something you're going to learn to do in 10 minutes, but once you know how to do it, you'll know how to do it for life. And I don't know, there's a handful of skills that I think are being lost that are really valuable, whether you're a woodworker or not, whether you're a fisherman or not. That, just simple things like how to change a tire, for goodness sakes. Pepe's got a friend in his 80s getting a job driving a mail truck. Wow. Wrong-sided mail truck? I often wonder how hard it would be for me to drive one of those, with the driving wheel on the other side. Sailor, how you doing tonight? Smoking some Old Joe Krantz and a Briarworks apple. Sounds good. And name that pipe. How you doing? Good to see you tonight. Oh man, Phil, Uncle Jack was a badass. Broke his hip reaching for a chainsaw and crawled on his elbows for 3 days to drink from the toilet? My goodness. That man lived a life. How to English not a tie is another one of those skills that's dying. I don't think people even know what ties are anymore. Replacing drive belts on the lawn tractor. There's a skill. Indeed, Gary. Oh, George, Morse code, definitely. Yeah. And I have to admit I'm lousy at it, but I'm trying. I'm trying to get better. I do not wear clip-ons, Tim. That is a lie. I haven't worn those since grade school. Oil changes, that's another one, Gary. Yeah. Although, to be fair, the way they're making cars these days, it's very difficult to do anything on them. I've given up on doing any auto repairs myself because I used to change spark plugs. I can't even find the spark plugs in my car. Well, I could find them, but I couldn't get to them to change them. Ron's wife has been dulling knives for years. Well, that's the other side of the skill, I guess. Oh yeah, Phil, I'd love to see that. He made cello bows. That's cool. Yo ma. Bow making is, I used to do lutherie, and I was not in any way an expert at it, but it was a fun hobby. And I made mandolins and ukuleles, and I planned to make a violin. I never actually executed on that. Still got the parts and everything, but and I learned in that process that the bow making is like an entirely different skill set. The people that make violins and cellos and violas and things like that don't make the bows. That's like a very specialized skill, and really interesting. I didn't realize just how much work went into the making of a bow and just how accurately they needed to be made. Jim PM, I'd love to see you with that hideous paisley clip-on tie sometime. Yeah, new cars are a mess, Mountain Coffee. Absolutely. Oh, that's great, Ford. Well, there's something to be said for those gifts, even if they're horrible taste. They meant well, right? I'm sure I told this story before, but one of the first things my wife bought me for my birthday, this was, we were just dating. It was the first birthday that we were together. Uh, she bought me a little pipe rack that I still have and I cherish. Just a little two-pipe rack, two-pipe stand, I guess you'd call it. And she decided to buy me some tobacco, and it was apple. And I thanked her for it and everything, and I thought, well, I'm gonna have to smoke this at least once. And oh, it was awful. It was just awful. I never told her. I threw it away. Yes, cutting meat in the cast iron skillet will dull the knife, Gary. That is true. Voodoo07, how you doing, buddy? Clip-on ties were good enough for DB Cooper. I did not know that. By the way, I've got another Sweet Baby Jesus tonight. I think I've got 2 cans of this left. I bought a 6-pack for Christmas and got sick, so I haven't been able to drink it. Wasn't able to drink it, and I'm fine now, of course. Dobros are George Campbell's instrument of choice. Wow. A year or more to make a bow, and base price $2,000, $2,500. Yeah, I believe it, Phil. Those things are... A well-made bow is apparently more valuable to some players than the instrument itself. There you go. Antiques Roadshow. The bow is worth a lot more than the violin. Wow. James Finn, how you doing, buddy? Welcome. You're not late. You can't be late here. And Wilmington Piper. Good to see you. And it is a good beer. Yeah, I really like the Sweet Baby Jesus. I finished up the Haunted Bookshop, by the way. And I think I'm going to do something a little different. I was fortunate enough to get a little care package from my buddy Ghost Cobb this week. And one of the things he sent me was some Lancer slices, which I've had before and I do enjoy. And I like to smoke a lot of Kia because it makes Everett's heart flutter. So we're going to have some Lancer slices in this Rick Black Sunbird, as he's known now, mortar pipe. That's true, Bona Piper. At least it wasn't 3-star blue. So Lancer slices was an attempt to replicate Bengal slices, and they did a pretty good job. I smoked a lot of Bengal slices back in the old days and really liked it. And the new Bengal slices is actually a pretty faithful reproduction of it. But this is good, the Lancer slices. It's a little heavier in the Latakia department, but it's not offensive to me. It is a little suspicious, isn't it, Doug? How do you know so much about D.B. Cooper Mountain Coffee? And Voodoo says there was a lock designed on the air stairs of the 727 outside the fuselage because of D.B. Cooper. That's interesting. That's very interesting. Steve, I'm not much better off than you. I play the radio very well. I piddle around with a couple of instruments, but I would never claim to play them. Scott, are you saying the Lancer slices is better than the current Bengal slices? It's very good. I actually prefer the current Bengal slices, but you know, it's preference. They're both very good blends. Boris the Piper, good evening to you, sir. Good to see you. The Copper Lock. Interesting, Voodoo. Oh, there you go, Sailor. German bows and French bows, and his daughter plays the bass, and the bow is cost in excess of $3,000. Man. There's been a flurry of documentaries and podcasts about D.B. Cooper. Oh, the Cooper Lock. That makes more sense, Voodoo. Sorry. I feel like if I misread that, sorry. Beowulf and Miss Kathy, good evening. Good to see you folks tonight. Gary, I don't think anybody knows what happened to D.B. Cooper. That's kind of the mystery. Although Michael K. says he's partying with Bigfoot. That makes some sense. Yeah, Ron, I've had Fusileer's Ration. Fusileer's Ration? Yeah, I've had that too. And I think that is also fairly close. I honestly, now I'm not remembering if what I was thinking of was Fusileer's Ration or Lancer Slices now. But this is very close too. Doug's asking about it, about Fusileer's as well. I can't remember now what I had previously. I'm sure I've had them both, but I don't remember which one I was thinking was very similar. But this is not far off. Yeah, Jim, Russ blended the new Bengal slices. He came up with the match for it. Yeah, Cooper's made barrels. Another really intriguing skill that's being lost. Barrel making, bucket making, the hooped buckets, the wooden buckets. Ah, so Timber Drifter thinks that Cooper was a Bigfoot in the beginning, and he just shaved and wore sunglasses in order to pull off the heist. Makes sense. And Sailor doesn't like Fusilier's ration or Bengal slices. That's okay, Sailor. Voodoo likes the Fusilier's ration. Taciturn Richards gets floral from Bengal slices. That's interesting. I do not get that. Bearwolf and Miss Kathy saw Cooper with Elvis. I would imagine those guys would be hanging out. And Gary Edminster has moved on to an escorty business pipe with some vanilla custard. Sunglasses and a clip-on tie. That's right, Wilmington Piper. Doug says that Fusiliers has a bit less of the licorice infusing than the new Bengal. Could be. I honestly haven't had the new Bengal in a while, Doug. I might have to crack open a tin of that. I've got 10 or so tins cellared. Ron's got some he needs to crack open too. Name That Pipe is pointing out that Timber Drifter has a great video comparing Bengal slices and Fusilier's ration. And Timber Drifter says that he enjoys Fusilier's ration and Lancer slices, less so Bengal slices, but they're all okay. Yeah. Hey, everybody's a little different. That's wonderful. Tim is saying that was Jim Morrison. Tim, I've lost track of who. It could have been Bigfoot or DB Cooper or Elvis. And yeah, why not? Jim Morrison's probably in the crowd with him. Mountain Coffee Outdoors says he learned that licorice root, anise, and anise are 3 different herbs that all taste pretty much the same. Yes, Jim PM, you should try them. I think you'll like it. Or maybe you won't, but hey, no point in just sitting on it. Wilmington Piper, anyone drinking anything good? He's sipping some Elijah Craig Toasted Barrel. We've reached the whiskey portion of the evening. I wish I had some whiskey. My wife bought me another bottle of that Stolen Wolf Rye. that I haven't opened yet. Ponderings of a Gravedigger. Hello, sir. Good to see you. Tim says his Bengal slices walks like an Egyptian. Very funny, Tim. A little obscure, too. But I got that one. Patrick Grant just picked up a bottle of Evan Williams. Tramper Scott says if he still drank whiskey, it would be rye. I'm with you on that, Scott. I do enjoy rye. James Finn's got some 10-year-old brandy that is super smooth. Sounds nice. Voodoo says Jim Morrison and Janis Joplin had a baby that was D.B. Cooper. Aha! All right, Phil, I'll look forward to those links. Thank you, sir. Tim does have an eternal flame. Orange whiskey? Really, Doug? You're going to go down that road? I like Bushmills. I do like Irish whiskeys as well. Andrew Sirigliano, good evening. Happy New Year to you, sir. Friday is off to a good start. Oh, somebody finally took the gin from you, Michael. Fantastic. Oh, that is annoying, Beowulf and Miss Kathy. Doctor's office no longer does handwritten prescriptions. Mine doesn't either, but I usually don't pick things up that day, so it doesn't matter to me. I like Bombay Blue Sapphire for gin. Yeah, Gary. If I'm making a gin martini or a gin and tonic, that's one of my favorites. Oh, that's terrible there, Steve. I hope Kathy's feeling better. Phil would rather chew on a pine tree car air freshener than drink gin. As long as it's not one of them fuzzy dice ones, Phil. Strapman, your wife's watching along with us? Well, hello, Mrs. Strapman. Welcome. I don't know if you're going to be pleased, but here we are. Ron is pairing Haunted Bookshop with Dr. Pepper and cream soda, zero sugar. Oh, Ron, I don't know about that. You know, the whole electronic medical thing, it annoys me mostly because the doctor spends all his time typing and looking at a screen. And I feel like why am I even in the room with you? You know, if the doctor touches me these days, it's a big deal. Not that I'm hoping to get touched much, but you know what I mean. Yeah, I know, Doug. I know that you meant up north. Oh, yeah, you got to drive 30 miles. That makes perfect sense, Beowulf and Miss Kathy. Absolutely. Yeah, Artie Tanqueray is fine as well. Oh, glad to hear that Kathy's feeling better. And yeah, hopefully you guys can do the live. I'll try to join that. 800 for a nasal mister to quit smoking? My goodness, Jim. Just tell her to smoke a pipe. Steve Russell says he knows that gin will get a cat drunk. I think there's a story there, Steve. Oh, cucumber finish does not sound good, sailor. Oh, Artie says it's got to be the Tanqueray 10. Gotcha. And Patrick likes the Beefeater gin. Nothing wrong with that. Ah, yeah, juniper berries are not blueberries, Phil. That's funny. So, did anybody do anything crazy on New Year? Any New Year Eve parties, any of that kind of stuff? I barely stayed awake till midnight. Um, in fact, did I? Oh no, I talked about this on Sunday. I was watching Svengoolie because my wife had the ball dropping stuff on. Stephen the Drunken Cat does sound like a sitcom, Doug. I'm sure the cat did feel good for a while, Steve. Mountain Coffee fell asleep on the couch before midnight. That's often my New Year's Eve routine. Tramper Scott was in bed by 10. Yeah, didn't sleep hardly at all. Sorry to hear that. Steve slept through it. Beowulf and Miss Kathy slept. A lot of folks slept through it. Voodoo'd smoked. That's a big step for you, buddy. I hope you're doing well with the back and everything. Gary stayed home and watched TV. Oh, it was gin that had the black pepper notes, not. I knew it wasn't gun. I thought you might have been saying gum, but gin makes a lot more sense on both fronts there, Wilmington Piper. Steve says the cat slept for 2 days. The urban hermit went to a party with good friends. That's a great way to bring in the new year. Yeah, when you get up that early, Scott, it's hard to enjoy midnight, indeed. Doug says Salty barked in the new year twice when the fireworks went off and then they all went to sleep. It's nice to be among friends because we all seem to have had a similar experience. Ah, the urban hermit has moved on to Bengal slices. Jeffrey Feinberg watched the Miley Cyrus and Dolly Parton New Year's Eve show. I'm surprised that was even a thing. Seemed like two unlikely friends there. Timber Drifter says psilocybin mushrooms have helped with smoking cessation. Yeah, there's actually a lot of buzz about hallucinogenics and alcohol cessation right now. But yeah, I'm not sure. There you go, Michael. Listen to BBC New Year and heard Big Ben chiming in the New Year at 4 o'clock and then had some popcorn and Diet Coke at midnight. Not bad. I was going to make popcorn. I didn't. Bars had friends in and there was cigars, Ardbeg, and lots of beer. I don't know what... Am I reading that right? Ardbeg. Okay, Ardbeg. Boring is often good, Timber Drifter. Because exciting is usually not good. Seldom is exciting a sign that things are going well, at least these days for me. Yeah, Phil, that's kind of the way I was thinking about it too. Never eat the mushrooms and drink again. I worked for a company once that had a drug that was for alcoholism. And it involved, this sounds like a joke, but I swear to God this is true. It involved a subcutaneous, so under the skin shot, and it was like this reservoir of drug that would stay there for weeks. So the idea was you only had to get one shot every 2 weeks or so, and it would slowly diffuse this drug into your system that would make you not want to drink. And the shot was given in the butt, and it left like a golf ball sized lump. And I joked once in a meeting at this company that the reason it was working wasn't because the drug was working, but it was just that much harder to stay on the bar stool. I thought that was hilarious. It was not well received. Andrew Sirigliano is asking me and Phil thoughts on stem tenons. Rule of thumb is a 1/2 inch. Do you shoot from More than that, curious. So you're talking about the length of the tenon. Phil's probably a better person to speak to that. I mean, I've seen some that are quite short. And I think there's some relationship between the width of the shank and the depth of the mortise, but again, Phil might have a better feel for that than I do. Doug says, 2 Springer Spaniels back in the 70s. One day they had an outdoor party with gin and tonics, sat his drink down on the lawn during croquet, and the dog drank it, ran like crazy for 30 seconds, and then napped. All briared up. How you doing, John? Good to see you. Doing fine here. Yeah, I see some folks enjoying my barstool comment. I was told afterwards by my boss that that was what he referred to as a career limiting comment. There, Phil's given a much better answer to Andrew's question. Daniel Leslie. Hello, Daniel. Had a very nice Christmas and New Year. I hope you had a good one too. Wilmington Piper, you have no idea how true that statement is. He had no sense of humor. But I'm actually still friends with him. He's a heck of a difficult boss, but a smart guy. Yeah, well, they are a former company, Michael. I did leave them. Not because of that. That's true, Sailor. It's much easier to make a career limiting comment these days than it used to be. And I'm still part of the old guard where, you know, we'll occasionally behind closed doors make what would be career limiting comments, and then we have to be very careful when we're out in the more general public to not do such things. But most of us are at a point in our career where it doesn't matter too much, as long as it's not an HR thing. Pipe Appeal, good evening. Good to see you, my friend. Chief Cynical Officer, I like it, Wilmington Piper. Bona Piper, thank you, my friend, for dropping in, for joining us. Have a great weekend. And take care of yourself, Christian. Nice thing about these slices, whether they be Bengal or Fusilier or Lancer, is that they do smoke slow. Yeah, Jim PM, I'm winding down myself, but I feel bad for the people just getting started. But I guess they're part of a different world now, and they don't see it as a problem. Yeah, Doug, I think you dodged a major bullet when you escaped from that one. Be a very different life, wouldn't it? But you know, when I think about it, I really do consider myself very fortunate to have had the career I've had, and to have had it at the time that I've had it, because we've had a lot of fun in what we do. We you know, there's been a lot of laughs. There's been a lot of exciting work that got done. We you know, often had this, you know, team mentality of we got to get something across the goal line, and it's just been a great time. And that's all changing because of attempts to, I don't know, attempts to sort of equal the playing field and make sure everybody's safe and that nobody's doing anything that might offend anybody else and all that kind of stuff. And you know, that's fine. I don't think people should be offended at work, and I think everybody should have a fair shot and all. But it's also, it's taking a lot of the joy out of the kind of work that I do. So I feel sad that future generations won't get to do what I did. But I guess there's a lot of things like that, you know, and maybe people have always felt that way. All Briared Up says he has enjoyed grocery stores and call centers where you can be ornery in the back and polite to the customers. That sounds like fun. Timber Drifter says in the building trades, not being able to joke would be career limiting. That seems like a good place to be then. Yes, Tim, thumbs up, please, guys. It really helps get the word out. So if you could please hit that thumbs up button, it would be much appreciated. Thank you for the reminder, Tim. Chubbs McGee, how you doing? Industrial Services, if HR could hear what they said in the field, the whole company would be fired. Yeah, not a lot of political correctness in farming, I assume, John. Yeah, Phil, I kind of feel the same way. You know, people say, don't you want to be a vice president? Don't you want to be CEO? And no, I'm happy. Let them have the ridiculous mortgage and the ridiculous car, and I'll drive my 10-year-old Hyundai and live in my nearly paid off house, and I'll be a happy guy. That's well put, Jim PM. You can say your presence in the organization improved its performance, its people, and its culture as a leader, then you've done your job. That's really well said. I've always been torn because I enjoy working with my hands, and you guys that know me know that. But I really enjoy working with people too. You know, I think some of the most rewarding stuff I do is when I can bring someone along, help them improve, help them move to the next point in their career. And, you know, I really get a lot of joy out of that. Unfortunately, these days, that also means taking them out of something that they really are better suited for, just so that they can feel better about themselves and feel like they're having career progression. So there you go, Gary. He drinks coffee stronger than the feelings. Yep, Jim PM. That's exactly how I feel. Daniel Leslie says he needs some prayers sent for a good friend of his. He has a successful trucking company in Tennessee, but it burned to the ground last night and he lost everything and he needs prayers. Well, Daniel, will definitely keep your friend in prayer. That is tragic. And hopefully he will be able to recover from that. Yes, the Peter Principle is a real thing. Lord Hogarth and Michael Case have brought that up. Absolutely. Phil says his Uncle Jack said he liked people, he just didn't like being around them. Yeah. Lots of prayers going up for Daniel's friend. That's wonderful, guys. Thank you for that. I once hung a sign up over someone's door that said, "Welcome to the home of the Peter Principle," as a joke. And the guy didn't know what the Peter Principle was, so he left it up for like a month. And I never admitted to being the person that hung the sign up. But this guy has since moved up 3 times, so that's okay. One of the things I've learned is that there are people that are really good at like dealing with the politics and just making it easier for the people that are doing the work. No, that's not everyone, but there are a few people like that, and this guy kind of falls into that category. He really wasn't very good at doing the kind of stuff that I do, but in terms of that, just paving the way and being a bit of a bulldozer when it's needed, and getting what we need to get the job done, he does that really well, and it's good to have folks like that. All Briared Up says Hunter's dad's kidney started to heal, but his liver remains at 10% capacity, and if it doesn't improve in a few days, preparation for hospice could be the next step. There's another person we need to be praying for then. That's really rough. Andrew, that's a good question. That's the one in Edison, New Jersey. I haven't decided. I wasn't going to, but maybe I'll just go for the day. And yeah, it'd be great to meet up with you, buddy. Let me think about it and get back to you, because there's a couple things I'm going to try to do this month, and I kind of got to decide. There's a next week in Lancaster, there's the Cabin Fever Expo, which is a lot of fun. And then the week after that, there's a Midwestern Tool Collectors Association auction that I'm thinking about going to. And if I try to go to the fly fishing show as well, I might cause some, what's the word I'm looking for? My wife might not be happy with me. Pipe Appeal, you have a great weekend, my friend. Thanks for joining us tonight. Daniel's looking for a good cigar pipe shop in Tennessee. Let us know what part of Tennessee, Daniel. Consternation's a good word, Michael. That might have been the word I was looking for, yes. At the Cabin Fever Expo, Andrew, there's it's a lot of metalworking and that kind of stuff. I know Little Machine Shop is there usually, um, and then it's a lot of smaller stuff. If you're talking about the Midwestern tool collectors, that they're usually smaller hand tools, but sometimes there's some heavy metal there too. Yes, Jeffrey, so sorry to hear about your mom. Um, but the hospice, yeah, they do wonderful things, and it's really difficult work they do. Beowulf and Miss Kathy, you're right about that, but I'm still not going to play that card. I'm getting lots of suggestions on what the words might be. Peeved and annoyed, disgruntled, not so happy. Yeah, they're all pretty close. Miffed and perturbed. I was looking for something a little stronger. Like I was going to say domestic, and then I'm looking for a word to go after that, like domestic discord. That's what I was looking for. But yes, miffed, perturbed. There's all sorts of things. Yeah. But to be fair, when I told her about the Midwestern Tool Collectors uh, show, that starts at like 7 o'clock in the morning, and it's about I think maybe a 2-hour drive from here. She immediately told me to get a hotel room. Um, Now that might just be because she wants me out of the house. I don't know. I'm a lucky guy. Divorce? That's another word, Gary. Domestically challenged. That sounds like the politically correct term for divorced, Phil. Domestically challenged. Oh, the Pooches were so happy to see her home, Beowulf and Miss Kathy. It was funny. It actually made me feel a little put out because they just it was I was like the center of the universe for a month, and all of a sudden it was like I didn't exist. Like it took 5 minutes for them to just forget that I existed. That's true, John. You never know. You never know who you might meet in a hotel. And Gary says she might change the locks while I'm gone. Yeah, could happen. Wait, that is rough, Daniel. 3 young kids, and they're all under 11. Wow. Well, hopefully he's got some insurance on the company. That'll help somewhat, but it's not going to take care of the lost income while he's rebuilding. That's what makes a relationship work, John. That balance, yep. Yeah, timber drifter, I understand that trucking is just a mess these days. Oh, Gary, if I need you to pick the new locks, I'll give you a call. There you go, John. Just hope it's not one of those 3-dog nights. Wow, Daniel, that's a lot. That's a good relationship, John. If you can be playful and laugh even when you're mad at one another. I think we're pretty much done with the Lancer slices here. Still burning, but I think I'm starting to burn more to. Yeah, we're down to ash. Clean white ash. Yeah. Yeah, we got 16 minutes. Might as well have some more haunted bookshop. Get out the luxury pouch again. I stopped putting this in the big tub because I was not supposed to be smoking so much, and that's kind of fallen by the wayside. So maybe I got to get the tub back out. It's up on the shelf over there. Oh, somebody asked me what happened to the sugar barrel, which was behind me. And I said it was just the camera angle, but I was wrong about that. I actually moved it. I put a shelf in above the shelves that you can see, and the sugar barrel is up on that shelf now. So that was interesting. It's a wire shelf, and I put it up there so they're going to have all this extra space for organizing things. And then I moved all my briar up there, and that took up the whole shelf. So I obviously have to rethink that. Self-driving trucks? Really, Beowulf and Miss Kathy? That sounds crazy. Sure, it's true. Never had a serious fight in 14 years. That is beautiful, John. So the missus just informed me that this year will be our 25th anniversary. And she wants to do some special things this year for that. So we gotta start working on that. And I wish I could say we've never had a serious argument in 25 years, but I can say we've, never had an argument so serious that I felt like our relationship was threatened. But yeah, we've had our disagreements for sure. That's just part of two people trying to become one. Beans 316, how you doing, Brian? Good to see you. Yeah, Timber Drifter, it's odd how that happens. I built like all this storage space, and it seems to be getting in the way now. And I still have all the stuff that I thought I was going to put in the storage space. But it's okay. I mean, part of the joy of having a shop like this is that you get to come down here in the evening sometimes and just sweep the floor. I mean, as strange as that sounds, it's, or just, I got a new chisel the other day, and it's not a new chisel, it's an old chisel, but I got it in the mail, and I just brought it down here and, sat it with the other chisels and just kind of looked at the chisels for a while, and sometimes that's enough, it's just a little place of my own with things I love. That is one of the nice things about slices or flakes, Doug, is the length of time. Yep. And I see folks commenting on years of marriage. Gary had 21 years and now they don't. That happens, Gary. Never let the Hallmark Channel break up a marriage. Amen, Michael. Wow, next month will be 52 years for Beowulf and Miss Kathy. That is amazing. Steve says he always gets in the last word and makes sure it's yes, ma'am. Yeah, that's the way to make it work for sure. Name That Pipe is asking if I've smoked any good cigars lately. I had a nice cigar over the holidays, and it was one of the Oscar Valdez cigars. I do not remember the actual cigar, but it was definitely the Oscar Valdez, and it was very good. Jim PM, 30 years and hanging on himself. James Finn, any recommendations on cutting homemade plugs other than a big knife? Not really from me. Big knife usually does it. Sir James says 53 years from him and he's still 39. That's a good trick. Jeffrey Feinberg, Jimmy Page, Dave Matthews, Richard Nixon, and he were all born on the 9th, and it's rapidly approaching. And well, happy birthday to you, Jeffrey. Hope you have a good one. Oh, Doug, keep that whole silver thing quiet. Yeah, it is special. But she would rather have trips and go places than get jewelry. So well, that works, Sailor. I guess that's kind of the balance that we've struck. I mean, I've got my domain here, and she's got the rest of the house, and we're happy. Timber Drifter's got a suggestion for James Finn on cutting the plugs. A smaller, very sharp knife. That'll work. Michael Case says he was married for 18 months and then a nice judge gave him a full pardon. Lucky man, I suppose, Michael. Yes, name that pipe. The Leaf by Oscar are good. I really like the Sumatra. Those are fantastic cigars. Mountain Coffee Outdoors just hit 8 years with his wife, and she still puts up with him. Yeah, it's amazing sometimes how fortunate we can be that we get put up with. I'm in that category, Mountain Coffee Outdoors. I'm very lucky that someone puts up with me because I'm not an easy person to get along with. Chubbs McGee is recommending one of those guillotine paper cutters. I think I know what you mean, and yeah, that might cut a plug for sure. Armchair Piper says he's had big arguments with Dr. Bo, but Dr. Bo won't move out. So when I lived in Georgia, I met this guy who was quite crazy. He was a friend of a friend. And so in Georgia, I'm trying to remember how this works. They weren't married. They were like civil union. If you live together in the same house long enough, you're considered married under the law in Georgia. And this guy was in that situation, and he wanted out. And apparently, the way the law works is the person that leaves is at fault. And yeah, Doug, I think that might get me into more trouble if I buy her a silver mounted pipe and break it in for her. So anyway, this guy wanted his wife to leave because he wanted to be done with her, and she wouldn't, because she knew that if she left, she would have no financial attachment to the guy, I guess is the way to put it. This was clearly a dysfunctional relationship. So he wound up building a bonfire in their living room in an attempt to drive her away, which didn't work. It's a very, very strange story. Haven't thought about that in years. Chubbs McGee, been together for 6 years with his wife, even though he's been traveling for 4 of those years while she stayed home with the youngins. That's a good woman, Chubbs. Common law, thank you, Tramper. That's the word I was looking for. Well, you're too kind to Dr. Bo, Ed. That's the problem. Give him his own. If you give me my own smoking room, I'm not going to move out either. I see Timber Drifter said he hasn't found a woman that will put up with the smoking and guns and sharp objects and books everywhere. And, you know, I don't know if I can honestly say I found that woman, because I don't know that she knew what she was getting into when she married me. She knew about the smoking and she knew about the books, but yeah, the other stuff kind of grew in time. And I often wonder, because we've kind of grown into these things, she's just comfortable with who I am and likes me, obviously. But yeah, if I ever had to find another woman, I just don't think it would be possible. I don't think there's one out there that would put up with me. So I'll keep the one I got. No, Michael, she doesn't really have a sewing room or anything like that, but the rest of the house is hers. She doesn't have to hide out. She just growls at me and I come down here. So anyway, folks, we are coming to an end here. Hard to believe another 90 minutes has flown by. Sorry, I'm still reading comments here. I want to thank you all for joining me. This has been a lot of fun, as it always is. And I really appreciate you taking the time out of your Friday to join me and have a few pipes and just shoot the breeze. It's always a good time. So I hope you all have a fantastic weekend and a great week ahead. I'll be back on Sunday with some sort of a video or the other. Don't know what I'll be talking about. Oh, I'm going to try the 2022 blend on Sunday. My sinuses have cleared up. I can taste things, so that's what we will be doing. Watch out for Bear Wolf and Miss Kathy tomorrow. Hopefully they'll be able to do their live stream. And beyond that, I am going to finish this up and sign off. You all take care. Bye, folks.